Hello, everybody. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and trans weavers, to that 6+++ show. It's a podcast, all things Warhammer. Another bunch of nerds talking about a game they love out there on the internet. There's a lot of them. We're your favourite. You know we are. Thank you for tuning in. Do let us know what you're up to in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Your hobby, your painting, are you recovering like we are from Nottingham because we're all a bit knackered today. We're going to be diving into a fun, snappy, easy topic, though, because that's the way to bounce back after 3 days of debauchery and games. And we're going to be talking about the best and worst epic heroes in 40k. Now, epic heroes, obviously, thinking a little bit in a competitive sense, thinking about, do they actually function on the tabletop? Which ones do we like? Which ones have we never really seen or understood? And it should be quite a lot of fun. Do pipe up, though. I'm sure there'll be some that we've missed. We'd love to hear what epic heroes you like, which ones you don't rate whatsoever as well. I'm going to launch us into our main segment pretty quickly, but what I am going to do is introduce our cast of players and just ask them a little bit about how their weekend was, because everyone was doing something. Spoilers. Then I'll shout out chat and we'll get into it. I'm going to start with my sensei, because he gets non-Chris privileges. John Scrivo, how are you?
I am great, Tom. Some might say I'm so full of beans, and that's not because I had beans for dinner.
Okay.
But I did.
Excellent. Oh, well, that's good. That's nice. I also did, actually. What sort of beans did you have?
Baked beans with a pucker pie, because...
Nice. Mine were kidney beans.
Oh.
Sophisticated. Yeah.
Very fancy.
Yeah, very fancy. I'm a fancy man. How was your Nottingham, John?
Mine was really good. Friday was quite a lively social occasion at Bugman's, because apparently all of the Warhammer community decided to jump there. And it wasn't just people going to Nox GT. I bumped into people I knew that were visiting there, just happened to be on that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
There was me and a couple of dudes that were there for Kill Team as well. So there was so many different social groups that I bumped into, and I was just like, I couldn't stop bumping into people. It was really lovely.
You were the belle of the ball, John.
Really weird.
You had more than the one beer you said you were going to have as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed a few too many beers, which then Saturday morning did make it quite rough.
You absolutely spanked me at pool when we got back to the house as well.
Yeah, but you're not very good at pool.
No, I'm rubbish.
Because you
awful.
don't play 6 games of it on TTS. That's the problem.
If I played more pool, I might be better. Aaron was the best, and that's all his time in bars showing. He's in the chat, actually. Hello, Aaron.
Oh, no, not that guy. I miss you, Aaron.
And so what event did you actually play in Nottingham, John?
So I was at Critical Strike 4, which was the Warhammer World hosted singles event for Kill Team.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
It's the second event I've done up there for this newer edition of Kill Team. And what I really like about Warhammer World events for it is that they use all the really nice fancy terrain, and it's all painted gorgeously. And then the vibes are very much a mixture of a lot of new people and then some really quite killer people. There's a lot of the Nottingham kind of local community that are really quite killer, and then the London community. But even when you play some of the really scary people, it's a really pleasant game.
Good.
Just the vibes are just great. So.
Nice. And how did it finish up for you?
I ended 4-2 and 13th place out of 52 people, which I'm happy with. I was just wanting to be good. More wins than losses, just to kind of feel like I wasn't just failing to be just mediocre.
No,
so it was all right.
Nice.
I'm happy. There's more to build on. I know where I went wrong in my 2 games. I'm going to do a video explaining the matchups, things like the terrain as well, because some of the historical terrain isn't as useful, and I learned that the hard way. So
I see. Nice. No, very cool. Yeah, so we'll Kill Team content is something John and I are very keen to gradually do in the future. So you can expect more of that. I'm also joined tonight by our resident town main, the one and only Jack. Jack, how are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Excellent.
Unlike you guys, I'm not falling asleep at the wheel for the tournament. I don't know about you guys. If Warhammer World had stayed open for another 3 hours, I would have played another game.
Yeah. Okay. You're very happy, boy. You're very keen. You were in good mood at the end of the event. You were still holding up pretty well.
Oh yeah, we had a great time. We wandered around Warhammer World trying to find the Tau section and failing.
Yeah, for a minute. I was saying there was a moment. Me and Jack were like, we was going to get Jack a box of Crew Talks. We were wandering around. We couldn't see the Tau anywhere, and I just gave him a look, and I went, I'm going to let you say it. It's like, if we can't find them, you're allowed to say that Games Workshop doesn't care about Tau. I give you my permission.
Yeah. But we did eventually find them with
We
the help
did.
of a helpful Games Workshop employee who
Yeah.
did make sure to make a joke about me being
Tau.
about Tau.
Yeah.
So you really can't escape it. But
Unbelievable.
They're in the back corner, right?
yeah, they're separate from everyone else.
All
Literally,
the Xenos are there. Yeah,
They were honestly.
they're not. They're not with all the other Xenos. They're on the other side of the room on their own. In a
They
corner.
are. They're in their own little segment for some reason. I don't fully understand it.
Oh, where Middle Earth used to be, in that right corner. It's like they spread it all out.
Yeah, I think
odd.
so. Yeah, it was a weird one anyway. But we found them. We found them at the end of the day. And how, Jack, I know you have at least one very cool story from Nottingham. So do you want to tell us how that went for you?
Yeah, sales is at Nottingham, playing the old Tau, played some Callion. In the end, I went 3-2. I'm still not going to do a full event report, but to do a very quick summary, played Penitent Host Sisters round 1. We were to take that one. And promptly got paired into Mr. Innes Wilson for round 2. That was a really, really good game. And it came down to the wire, really. It came down to the last roll of the game, where I overwatched a transport. And if I killed it, I would have got a kill more on Purge and won the game. I got 2 wounds through. Innes had to make 2 5-ups, and he just did it. He just made 2. If he failed one of them, I would have won, but he didn't.
Destiny intervened.
but for realsies though, it was a really good game.
Yeah.
I feel really happy about it. I think I left it all on the table and pushed him pretty hard.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I don't think there's any shame in losing to him for bringing about that.
Not at all. That was awesome.
Then I played Crew Clown Party. Hunting Party.
Yeah.
That list is a bit of a meme, but even more so on 6 Objective Taken Hold, where they go first.
Yeah.
And I ended up losing that game by 1 point. Round 4, I played against new Astra Militar and Bridgehead. That was really fun. I think my opponent just wasn't ready for someone to play aggressively on Callion. He was kind of expecting me just to sit in the corner for 3 turns.
Yeah.
So I was able to win that one
Very nice.
with a healthy lead. And then the last game was against Creations of Biochaos Space Marines.
Yeah.
I had a lot of damage 3 weaponry, high AP, and that was not what he wanted to see.
No.
So I was able to pull that one out as well, finishing
Fantastic.
up 3-2, and I think 74th overall, I think it was, something like that.
Really nice.
So yeah, really happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's run pushing in that close. I don't think anyone in our team's ever pushed in that close, so that's really, really cool. Very proud of yourself.
Definitely wouldn't have deserved it if I won, but
you'd have taken it though.
Yeah, I would have taken
it. He was very complimentary afterwards. No, he was actually.
To him once.
You got a winning draw into him.
Yeah, it was very much a game of him going soft, but I take
okay. Very good, very good. I'm also joined tonight by another 6 Officers killer who was also out there taking names this weekend just gone. It's the lovely Alex Chancellor. Alex, how are you?
I'm doing well, guys. Keeping busy. Somewhat tired, but I didn't do a full weekend, so I don't know why I'm so tired.
It's just that time of year, isn't it? So what were you doing, Alex? You played one day of 40k rather successfully, so what happened?
Yeah, I was at the Outriders RTT locally to me up at Wargames Workshop. Went 3-0 with the Warhorde Orcs.
Fantastic.
So, all good fun there.
Pretty exciting.
Out being slightly more aggressive and
yes, just like we've been talking about, right?
What happens if I run at someone instead of have them run at me this time?
Yes, you're on the right army for that right now. Orcs seem to be in a really cool place, which is very nice.
Yeah, it did feel like there was an extra unit or 2 that I had.
Yeah, I played against Orcs at Nottingham and I ran at them because I was like, if I don't do it, they're going to do it. And it's the only way I can keep them busy. No, fantastic. And obviously, you're coming up with me and John to Northern Warlords this weekend coming as well, so we're staying very busy. I don't know if my voice is going to recover in time.
We'll find out next week, I imagine.
Yeah, we will. We've got me, Alex, John, and Connor Nichols from our team all going up to Northern Warlords to represent. We obviously really enjoy their events up at Element Games. And we've got quite a fun mix of armies. We've got GSC Orcs. I believe Connor is on the Naughty Star Shatter. John, you're taking some Blood Angels soup, aren't you? Some Iron Angels, Blood Storm. Don't know what to call it.
Because there is actual Blood Angels in the list, so it's real Blood Angels.
Real Blood Angels.
Some of them are painted red because they're not mine.
There is a bit of Warhammer going on. All right, guys, I know you're here for the main event, so we're going to be launching into that soon and talking about the best and worst epic heroes, in our opinion, in 40k. Do shout us out in the chat, let us know what you're up to. Obviously, hit that old like and subscribe as well. All helps us get where we're going. If you want to sign up to be a member, like the lovely Lorenzo SP has done, thank you, Lorenzo SP, that helps us out as well. I think we're one member off 70, which means we're on a great number, but I wouldn't mind hitting 70. In the chat, we have Ultimate Funk, who was in first today. Well done, Dave. Aaron Wilson was in. Paint Celestine's watching live. That's fantastic. Lovely to have you here, Paint Celestine, as well. No sign of Nightbot yet. Maybe he's sulking somewhere. Anyway, what we're going to do now is launch into chatting about some epic heroes. So, essentially, I gave my team members a brief. They were to come up with 2 epic heroes they believe are among the best in the game, and they've got to be ready to defend themselves and justify it. They've also come up with 2 epic heroes they believe to be among the worst in the game, and they've got to justify that as well. So as ever, we'll have a little natter, talk around it. You in the chat can pass your judgment, as only a chat can, and we'll move it along from there. And we'll shout out Josh Callan in the chat tonight, who says, Gaz better be getting the respect he deserves tonight. I don't think Gaz is in, which is really sad. I think Alex might have put him in.
I tried, but he's not great nor awful at the moment.
He's there.
Oh, I think Josh has posted it again. Is he just going to post that for the entire evening? Maybe he is.
He is.
I did have the RDT. I did enjoy it.
He is, as the kids say, mid.
No cap.
There are a lot of people shouting out their favourite characters. Shout out to Ola Bengtson in the chat who gets to watch this live for once as well. And hi, of course, to Gordon. I'm looking forward to chatting to you tomorrow, mate. Right. I'm going to start with John. You get the captain's privileges passed down to you. John, do you want to start with a best or a worst?
I'm going to start with the best.
Yeah, let's do the best first.
I'm going to preface this intentionally because I don't want to get into the habit of always going, well, Dark Angels this, Dark Angels that. I have not done anything Dark Angels.
Oh, you're pushing yourself, are you?
I didn't want people to just expect that, but Azrael would be up there, so we don't need to discuss that.
He is pretty good.
I'm going to go with on my best list. I'm going to go with SNICRO.
Oh, Snicky. Okay, here he is. There you go, everybody. It's SNICRO. Look, he's just popped up. He's just redeployed.
Yeah.
Why is SNICRO good, thing, John? Right?
So, he has some cool tricks on his datasheet that nothing else in the Orc book can really do. So, having an end of move, once per game, redeploy, really quite useful.
Yep.
I like the fact that he actually has a purpose, because historically, for me personally, my first tournament list had him in.
Yep.
This was in 7th edition, early 8th edition. Didn't really do much, but he has a purpose. He's cheap enough. He does something. He's a lone op, and it's
lone op and infiltrator, right?
Yeah, it's so handy. And I just can't see a reason why you wouldn't be excited.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. Anyone else got thoughts on SNICRO? I definitely think he's useful.
I mean the only thing he's missing is AP4, isn't it?
Yeah. Chat, you again?
His ability to redeploy in his own movement phase is pretty unique.
Yeah.
And quite interesting. So I think that's quite cool. I think that gives him like a little bonus point on his own.
Yeah, completely.
And 95 points for like a single model is a nice break point in Orcs. Like there's not a lot of stuff around that kind of level. Yeah. So he's just a real nice. He's just real nice.
Yeah, I agree. He's pretty neat. He gives him something that if you don't take the commandos, you don't have with the infiltrate. Yeah. Lone op can be quite useful as well. I've definitely seen people using him as like a bait to basically get the opponent near to Gazgul. He works really well for that as well, because you can't shoot him if you don't come within 12. If you're within 12, Gazgul can run at you. That's pretty fun combination plays. Josh in the chat might recognise that one.
It feels like a good translation of the lore to tabletop, and that was the thing I kind of framed mine as. It's like you read what he's like, and it feels like they kind of got it right.
There is one thing I don't like about him.
Yeah.
What he has the smoke keyword, but doesn't do anything.
Has he got the smoke keyword?
He does.
Well, I guess he does have smoke on his base, but it has no practical application.
Well, he already has stealth.
He's already got stealth.
And he gives his unit cover. So
sometimes not with his unit, but that's about the only reason it comes in.
Yeah, that's quite funny. I like that's dedication to the model, isn't it? Basically, quite enjoy that. Okay, right, Jack, it's your turn now, man. What's one of your best ones? We'll take Snicky away. He's popped off somewhere else.
One of my
redeploy.
best ones.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of my best ones. I definitely haven't forgotten one of them. So let's start with Ursula Creed.
Beautiful. Here comes Creed, and boom, there she is.
So I try to stick with armies that I've actually played a bit. Imperial Guard. She's changed very slightly in the new codex. She has an extra order, I believe, is 10 points more. But her free stratagem, she gives us free stratagem to a unit within 12 rather than just her own unit, which is very good. But it's now battle round rather than player 10. So she is like a smidgen worse than she used to be. Mm-hmm. But the cool thing about Creed is that anytime you're writing a Imperial Guard detachment, any Imperial Guard list for any detachment, you always consider Creed. You always look at it and say, would Creed be good in this? Mm-hmm. And I think that's like a really powerful ability. And it speaks volumes to how good this character is that she's never not a consideration. And her ability to give extra order to her own unit is just gravy, basically. But I like how it's the quintessential human hero in 40k.
Yes.
In that the stat line is just a bit crap.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, as soon as they get in a fight, you're like, oh no.
Like the weapons are a bit crap, and that's fine because that's not what they're there for.
It's not what they're about.
She does the orders thing, and she is a tactical leader, right? She's not going to be, Marnius Calga punching Swarmlord faces in, but that's what's cool about her. She doesn't need to be.
Feels very much in theme. I think, in my experience, guard players sort of enjoy it almost as much as the player attacking when it gets to the point that all the little guard characters are having to wade in. It's just always funny. Everyone kind of enjoys it. Like, here comes my 1 damage power. So, oh no, that hasn't turned the tide, and now I'm in trouble. Oh dear. Yeah, completely fair. Okay, Alex, what have you got on your list, sir?
Oh, I think new meta menace. Possibly expensive, but Rubute Gilliman.
Oh, here he comes. There he is. He's big. He's blue. He's running over you. It's Rubute Gilliman. So why is he everywhere now? What's the deal?
Well, you've got the Oath's change was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Plus 1 to wound, Ultramarines gain that a lot. What if you did it twice?
Yeah.
Also, what if you did that whilst having more CP management, cheaper strats everywhere? Like, and what if he got back up when he died after having absolutely battered the shit out of somebody else? Like, he just does everything, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does do everything. He's very, very good. It's just a bit of an all singing, all dancing unit at the moment. There were a lot of Gillimans at Nottingham. I saw a lot of them running around. And probably one of the reasons that Ultramarines are absolutely cooking with gas right now. I think Calgar's not terrible either. You see a lot of Calgar out and about, but Gilliman right now is just very, very strong.
Second Oath target gets rid of one of the big problems Marines did have, was they'd look at one unit, kill it, and then give a big question about what about anything else?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's it. Ultimately, if that plus 1 to wound, it can be in 2 places as it can for Ultramarines. It's very spicy, so why would you not take it? Shout out to Massacre Gaming in the chat. Shout out to Elmo Miniatures as well. I think Josh Cowlard cancelled his membership over the SNICRO over Gaz issue, which is fair enough.
I just wanted to say something about Gulliman. I have a personal pet hate for this guy.
Okay.
Because I don't know why he gets his own special snowflake justification in the Ruins rule that he gets to walk through them.
It's not personal to him. It's Imperium Primarch and Belisarius Call. Actually.
Yeah.
3 units. And I will not take that, Jack.
He's a special snowflake, and I don't like him
because
I'm jealous.
Yeah, well, I think normally they at least write like a fun name for something like that, right? But they're just like, oh, if you're these 3, you can go through walls. End of discussion.
Because we done goof.
Yeah.
Gaz walks through a wall, and he's about twice the size of all of those.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah. Well, alrighty, taking it back to myself, I suppose. What are my best ones? Oh, I had a very lazy first one. Here we go. Magnus. He's big. He's red. He's going to make you dead.
He's a big red bitch.
Look,
he deserves to just
Magnus just is. He literally is a one-man army in the game right now, and like he has been for the whole edition. He's been completely meta-defining. Obviously, you can kill. Like he's a lot less good than he used to be, just because a lot of armies can kill him. He can delete things. He can double move incredible distances. He's got Very good combat, very good shooting with full rerolls to hit and wound. He makes his entire army around him better. He's -1 damage. He can blank saves. He's just completely ludicrous. I'm sorry. Like, when you are playing Thousand Suns, you are playing Magnus, and then there are just some guys around, basically, at the moment. It's completely warped.
He can't be on this best characters list. He's a knobhead. Like, he's just, like, any time you walk up to a table and you see him, you're just like, for fuck's sake.
It is true.
Every time.
Nobody enjoys playing against him. He's always a massive faff. It's just... Arsehole. I think he probably is the single best model in the game. I think Barry's shouting out in terms of the overall power on one unit is crazy. Like, it's just sensational.
He is a massive Achilles heel though at the same time.
Yes.
Because if you do lose him, then you probably lose the game as Thousand Suns.
Almost certainly, yeah.
Which does give me horrible Vietnam flashbacks to me playing Vampire Counts in Fantasy. But I just don't like looking at him. Just even the sight of him disgusts me. It just bothers me.
Right, we'll take him away. Bye, Magnus.
He feels like the one Primarch out of all of them that if I see him on the tabletop, I go, well, he's the real problem with the army. And if I played against the army without him, it's a different game. But it's like, say, Mortarianless Death Guard.
I was going to say, the other Chaos ones actually... Yeah. They are literally often played as throwaways to buy everything else time, whereas Magnus is like, if Magnus dies, it's Jenga, right?
Yeah.
We've got some appreciation for Jack's anti-Magnus stand.
Yeah.
Discussingly Resilient podcast, unsurprisingly, want a Death Guard character. There'll be no such nonsense today, I'm afraid.
Got too many. They've got like 12, right?
But Typhus, you're right. For 80 points, Typhus is completely insane. Played against Typhus with 6 Death Shroud at Nottingham this weekend. It was very, very hard work. Dislike it. He did more damage to his own unit blowing them up when he didn't just cast his spell than I did for the first 2 turns.
Disgustingly Resilient needs to answer their emails as well.
Oh, yes. Disgustingly Resilient.
Watching you.
Yeah, Jackson, your DMs about getting on the TTS stream, guys. So please answer the phone. And Dave says, if you don't take Magnus, you've already lost the game. Yeah, he has distorted that thing quite a lot. And Barry says the amount of times Alex Fowler has rotated him to get a bullshit but completely legal angle. I mean, would it be Magnus if he wasn't getting you with like the tip of a wing somehow? That's what he's all about.
It's got to be the worst abuser of that.
Yeah, he is by a country mile. Yeah. Okay, bringing it back to you, John. What's your other best pick? We got 2 each.
Well, I went for one that I'm less certain about, but I feel like should be, and that is Bjorn the Fell-Handed.
I think this is a really good pick. I like it a lot.
Badass. In the lore, he's the oldest Space Marine. He remembers seeing Lehman Russ walking off into the warp, waited a year for him to come back like a good dog does. He didn't come back, so then they kept making the meal. He never came back, but and they're waiting. He's gone to get that packet of fags from the warp, but he's not come back yet. But he is an absolute bully piece.
He is.
I remember when I first started the game, he was really good in 7th. In 8th, he was all right. And then in 9th, it's just like, it was sad. You never saw him out. And now I just feel like he feels like the oldest ancient thing in a sarcophagus that beats stuff up now. And it feels appropriate.
Yes, he is good shooting, good combat, and then just a casual huge Vector or off a Dreadnought chassis base, along with his -1. I think he halves damage, feel no pain, 4 up Invun. He's very, very tanky when he gets going.
Helps that he's got the oldest Dreadnought model going, so it helps him feel ancient.
Put him in a sock.
Yeah, is he the last one? Is he the last little guy now? I think he might be.
He is the helper, technically.
Oh, of course, Murderfang's still there for now as well.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, undeniably very, very good.
I never have any respect for Bjorn either because he is just fodder for my army. But
yeah, I was going to say. I mean, I that's why I have 10 acolytes with melee weapons to just drill him regardless. But he is definitely extremely potent. The Vector can be really, really clutch in a lot of games.
He does have style, though. I'll give him that.
Oh, he's got a lot of vibes. Okay, Jack, what's your second best pick? Have you remembered? Do you need help?
Yeah, no, it's okay. I did look it up. Well, I just thought maybe we hadn't had enough Primarchs in our best characters. So
I thought one. Damn it!
I thought I'd pick Angron.
Yay! Look at him. He's big. He's
a reason to pick Angron is because he is obviously a beast, but well, he's not. He's a monster. But he
Oh God! All right.
there is no much like Magnus. He is one of those units that the army kind of revolves around. And whenever you think about World Eaters, you think about that character and how you're going to have to deal with him, because he doesn't go in every list, right? There are lists that don't take him, but he's in a majority of lists, I would say. And when he's in the game, the entire game just warps around him
completely,
and it's played around him.
Yeah,
which is, that's not a level of impact that a lot of characters can have on a game.
Yeah.
Which I think speaks greatly to his power, I think.
Yeah, completely. Because there is not much as fast and as killy as him. Ultimately, whether or not he comes back is a huge signifying factor in a game. And obviously World Eaters players also use him in a different way because you've got this wonderful mini game of you might be able to get him back if he dies early in the game as well.
Yeah. And I just hate it when he does, but
but then you really love when he doesn't.
Yeah, I've not had him come back against me in quite a while, I have to say. He's stayed dead a lot.
I've had those games where I don't know what's worse, right? Him coming back multiple times or killing him in like turn 1 or 2 and then having to sit there and just like have heart palpitations every time your opponent makes that roll, and you're just like, is he coming back? Is he coming back? Please don't come back. Like,
yeah, there are few rolls quite as nerve-wracking as the potential Angron return. I always forget at some stage in the game, and it's and as Ultimate Funk in the chat says, he's the most distraction card effects out there. Typically when I play World Eaters, I try to just ignore /block /irritate him until about turn 4 and then kill him.
But the difference between
they don't let you have a choice.
The difference between him and a distraction card effect is he will kill the shit if he gets there. Right?
Yeah,
the card effect is a good chance it won't.
He's coming in substantially faster.
That time.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's a very good shout. Shout out to our fallen brothers. I don't think Mortarian or the Lion made it into this chat. So
no,
obviously you just need to be one of the cool ones. So
I just chose not to, Tom.
Yeah,
it felt obvious.
Alex, what was your second best pick, mate?
Well, it's another Primarch-like figure, really, isn't it? I went for the Silent King. So
yay! Where have I put him? He's in here somewhere. There he is. Boom! Look at this. He's massive, and he's got 2 little computery friends. So why is the Silent King good?
He just auras everywhere and tough as balls, isn't he? Like, he's got damage, indirect, it's ignore mods, mod auras, reroll 1s of whatever preference you've got. He just does it. Again, he does a bit of everything, and with the Star Shatter detachment, he's not even stopped by a wall.
Yeah. He is very strong in Star Shatter. He's quite good in Obeisance Phalanx, but that's not really seeing the rounds now that Star Shatter's out. He's just very obnoxious to deal with. He's got that sort of mixed profile mini game with the what are the things called? His little shooty. The Minears, yes, very good.
You want to put the high damage stuff in, but it's all 4-up invuln. It's now -1 damage. It's different wound numbers everywhere, and if you kill a men here, it might just come back.
He really is pretty phenomenal, and there's a lot of him doing the rounds right now. So that takes it to my second best one, and I can't remember what I picked, so I'm just going to look down. Huron Blackheart, let's go. I love Huron Blackheart. I'm sorry, I won't apologise. He's just really fun. This is a little bullshit character that does an awful lot. I think if you're playing CSM, you should plug him in and give him a go. He's only 80 points. For 80 points, you get a 3-unit Heretic Astartes infantry redeploy. That's quite nice for CSM. You get him plugged into Legios or Chosen, giving you +1 OC on the unit, but also a D6-inch reactive move. And he's got a good little flamer and a good little melee profile as well. I think for his points, Huron actually brings an awful lot. I think a lot of CSM lists really like being able to change where some Warp Talons are or where some Possessed are at the start of a game. It also lets you deploy Obliterators on the board, freak your opponent out, then put them in reserves. So there's a whole bunch of sneaky tech you can do with Huron. He is probably not up there on the raw power level as an individual, but a reactive moving brick with extra OC is also very annoying if it's got him in it. So he's cheaper than the Chaos Lord. I really enjoy Huron Blackheart. I think you should play him. Unfortunately, his model is garbage, so proxy 1 because he is very, very old and probably not that long for this world, but couldn't resist putting him in there. I've had a lot of fun playing CSM with Huron in the list.
I think your bias is showing, Tom.
No. Won't hear it. There you go. I went very obvious with Magnus. I'm allowing myself a nice little edge case here. So that is our best picks, guys. We're going to move it along to thinking about some worst picks. Do keep your best and worst picks flying in the chat. Berry says S tier in Vets. I completely agree. In Vets of the Long War, Huron is really, really good. Huron is great until you consider everything starts in a Rhino and a Chaos Lord is only 90 points. I just listed some stuff that doesn't start in Rhinos, Berry. Thank you very much. There's loads of CSM units that you start on the ground. Alrighty. So, John, what was your first worst pick, mate?
Well, it's actually a chapter master so bad that he's not actually allowed to drive. Probably because he actually got too many points on his license, and he's not allowed. He's got too many space points on his driving license. So Corosoro Khan.
Here he is.
He's
Birdman.
his third model.
Yep.
And then the third time wasn't lucky because he lost the ability to be on a bike, and instead he got a bird. So it's almost like he's gone through a midlife crisis.
Doesn't the
It's really
bird do
weird.
like one mortal wound or something?
Does it? Okay.
It used to. I don't know if it used to be the bird would like peck a tank and take the last wound off it or something, but I don't know where it's at now.
But he personifies the problem I have with White Scars at the moment.
Yeah.
That they are meant to be this horrible pressure thing where they love being riding bikes, and then they just get the same amount of bikes as everyone else. They get 3 units of those, and the only thing that can be leading them is a chaplain on a bike, which doesn't feel very White Scar-y to me, and it just feels a shame.
Yeah, I think he's really pretty poor. Paint Celestine has unsubscribed because we didn't put Morven Vale in. Sorry, Paint Celestine. If we'd done this show only one slate earlier, Morven Vale might have been involved, but she's not quite made it yet. She is obviously, again, another unit that when she's on the table, the entire game is defined by whether she gets to do her thing or not. Very, very
She
powerful.
was outranked by Gilliman. That was the real.
Yeah, that was it.
Could only have one High Lord of Terror, essentially.
For those that don't know what Corosoro Khan does, just to let you know real quick.
Have a clue.
So he gives us unit assault, which is entirely pointless because that's what
you get it in the army detachment.
You get it in this White Scars detachment, and they get Lance, which is not nothing.
But you can also get that in the detachment.
You can get that as a stratagem, yeah.
Yeah.
And each time he kills a character, you get a CP. That's it.
Power sword
does the bird do anything?
No, the bird doesn't have rules.
Gone.
For God's sake!
Literally, I can't remember what he does because it's literally like he could not exist.
What a waste.
But he does give all your outriders OC3.
Sure, that's true.
That's a thing that he does.
That is a thing.
Go round all those walls really slowly, and then you just lose.
Yeah. So I think I'm happy with Corosoro Khan being in our worst selection. So Jack, who was your first pick for worst epic hero in the game?
Well, I'm going to make myself an enemy of the chat and say Sly Marbo.
Oh yes, I did notice some Marbo love in the chat. So explain, Jack, why the hatred?
Well, it's because he should be way cooler than he actually is. So Sly Marbo is like a toughness 3 character with I think 3 wounds. It might be 4, but and then obviously it's like a 5-up save. He's just got no defensive capabilities of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
His rule, he's got the classic rule combination of a 12-inch shooting weapon lone operative, which is always fun.
Yeah, like the Kellamorph.
Yeah, exactly, like the Kellamorph. And he has a thing where if you if you shoot him, if he shoots you, then he gets to make a normal move. And then that combines with his rule that if you shoot a Astra Militarum unit within 3 of him, he gets to shoot you. The problem is that in order to do that, you have to be within 12 of the enemy, which means they're probably just going to kill him first.
Just get rid of Marbo anyway. Yeah.
So that's fine. Also, I lost all respect for him at the weekend after killing him with 4 crew. I just charged him and killed him with 4 crew, and that's just pathetic. No one should die to 4 crew.
It's a reflection of how awesome crew are, Jack. You see, we've been on about this for a long time.
Yeah. Is that why you got some at Warhammer World? Cool.
Yeah. Daddy Tom bought them for me. The thing, but yeah, I just want him to be way cooler than he is. He was way cooler in 9th edition, and now he's lame, and that makes me sad.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, and the model is phenomenal, right? So I think I'd like to see him be a bit better.
It's resin. And I think when they launched him in 7th,
he's new, isn't he? I think he's been redone.
That's the it's one of the last resin character models they did.
Surely not.
When he launched, the rules were absolutely bonkers. He was literally like a one-man machine.
I thought Marbo had a new model by now.
No, we've had so many Katachan like special models, but he's the last.
Chat, is Sly Marbo plastic? I think he is. John says he's resin.
He's still resin.
He might be plastic because they got rid of all the other resin characters for Katachan.
I think he got updated.
In the codex.
He's the
last one. He got updated. All right, we'll move it along. I don't know.
Hey, I've got metal characters in my army. I can tell you they still sell old models. Poor Ezekiel.
But yeah, he's one of those characters that's like his thing is that he should deep strike and like assassinate
and be like a little pest.
Deploy and be everywhere. He should be appearing like in Predator. He should be in the water just like. Because that's what he's meant to be. He's meant to be like slice alone.
What he used to do as well, Happy Downy and all that nonsense. And scary. But now he just exists and you go, oh, he's over there, he's a lone op. That's his only useful ability.
Yeah, he should be like killing ethereals in the backfield or whatever else.
These abilities we've given him cost this many points, done. And just that was it. They were like rushing through all the boring characters they were going to get rid of.
Completely.
And then left him behind.
We are going to briefly interrupt our run through the worst characters because Bonsai Kitty Gaming has given us a super chat. Thank you very, very much. Nice. And they've now set a precedent which we will adhere to, which is if you super chat us and ask about a character, we will just talk about them. So, thoughts on Shrike? I think Shrike is actually really cool, right? Jack wants to go. Go on, Jack. Let's have it.
Raven Guard was my first ever army in 40k when I was a teenager, and I love Jacksmaster Shrike. To the point where anytime I've written a Marine list, I've always put him in because I just think he's just cool. He's just endlessly cool. Mm-hmm. And actually, I do think he has potential in New Marines. The worst thing about him is that he precludes you from taking Ultramarine stuff. That's the worst thing about him.
And that's the downside.
Well, I mean, from a power perspective. But I think like giving assault intercessor jump pack guys OC2 is awesome. I think +1 to wound is like exactly the damage buff that he needs to make him just shred people apart.
Completely. He's really brutal.
I think a lot of people sleep on that character. And I think he has a lot of potential in a lot of lists.
I think a Raven Guard list which builds around the fact that ultimately at some point a very killy lone op brick is coming in is a powerful list. That's a real control piece, right? Because you can't shoot him if he comes outside 12. That unit is fast. There's good play in it. And as you say, Shrike himself with all the twin link, the claw damage with +1 to wound can suddenly punch up into all sorts of things, and so can his unit. So I've seen a few people try this. And ultimately, yes, it may not be the best of the best Marines, but I think you can run good Raven Guard lists at the moment with Shrike in, and I think they would work. Yeah.
I think if you're not planning on running Ultramarines, or any of the non-Codex chapters, he's probably the best character out of the Codex Marine characters that's not Ultramarine. I think. Yes. I don't think there's any that are better. So, if you're not running anything else, you can always just throw Shrike in, and it'll be really good because everyone likes using jump back intercessors anyway. So he just makes them better.
He buffs a unit that you'd want to use anyway.
Exactly.
And it makes the army play like Raven Guard should play.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I love about him and his unit is that it's the complete opposite of Kasara Khan, right? You're playing against that, you're like, that is actually very, very on theme, very on point. Yeah, so really, really cool. Thanks for the super chat, Bonsai Kitty Gaming. We appreciate you. If you'd like us to chat nonsense about a character you like, chuck us another one. We'll do it. Let's go. All right. So Marbo stayed on screen a little longer, and it has been confirmed he's resin. I hate being wrong. I'm just going to pretend I wasn't. We're going to pass it over to, I believe, Alex next for his worst character pick.
Yeah, we're going to pick this one partially because of play experience, but also because it's not great now, and that would be the Incar.
Oh, this is an interesting one. Go on then.
It started off incredibly obnoxious. Up and jumping in, jumping out. And that's part of why I picked it up is unless you were a higher quality player, you just got knocked around forgetting that it was going to turn up when you accidentally killed a screening unit and it charged you.
Yeah, 100%.
And then people remembered mortal wounds exist.
Yeah, I was going to say, the first few times you play against an Incar, it's panic, and then the second few times it's saving a couple of CP for tank shock and grenade and just generally not sweating too much Obviously, nerfs have taken it kind of out of function now.
It's expensive for what it is. If it dropped points, you could probably see it coming back, but the damage isn't amazing. The flame is interesting, but not that special. And it just, people are aware of it. Everyone's planning with infiltrate units, so it's going to bump somewhere really weird.
Yeah, completely. I think it's
expensive for what it does now.
Yeah, it doesn't. You've not really seen successful Eldar game plans built around it in a long time. I just hope they sort it out and make it. I say I'm a huge fan of the Incar, and so is Chris. We love the Incar in our house, and I just would like to see it come back. But they need to get the rules right. It was so obnoxious in its previous. So the iteration they had in 8th edition when I first played it, I think it could only move when your opponent killed things. It could never move. It could never move when you killed things, and that was quite fun. That worked quite well as a mini game, but it didn't work. Doesn't really work when you can just be like, I kill you, then I kill you more, then I kill you even more on top of that. Right? That was just ridiculous.
I don't like having him on the worst list because I don't want to create a narrative that he's bad because then he might get buffed.
If you're watching Games Workshop, buff it up. We are going to thank Bonsai Kitting Gaming because you have become member number 70 for us. That is amazing. Thank you so much. Been a really, really amazing year for members and really, really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for getting involved. We love doing these shows. We're really excited to do more. And every member we have helps us get that a little bit further to a great big content machine that we're fully intending to build, probably on a yacht, preferably in Monaco. You know the idea. So thank you very, very much for that. So that then takes it to me. I'm trying to remember who I put for my worst ones. Oh, I had one. So Spoilpox Scrivener, right? This is a Nurgle character. He gives Plaguebearers sustain hits. Plaguebearers suck in melee. So I'm not that bothered about sustain hits. He also boosts their OC by 1. But pretty much at the cost of you could probably have 10 more Plaguebearers, which is a lot more OC. And it's just, I absolutely love this model. It's one of the. Do you remember me buying this from your shop, John? Because I do. I think it was like one of the first or second times I ever came around. Yeah. Big purchase. It got a lot bigger, but I definitely remember coming in, buying this guy. I think it's a wonderful model to paint, especially when you're new. I love all the Noble Demon characters to paint and to hobby with. They just never seem to do very much, and he's probably the worst of the suite of little characters that they've got. I don't really get an awful lot of use out of poor old Sloppity. That then takes it to you, John. So,
at the end of 9th edition, they introduced this whole new big bad. This guy that was wanting to become another Chaos God. So he decided he'd steal bits of a destroyed planet called Caliban and rebuilt it into a demon world called Wormwood. Fortunately, all this really cool stuff he's done on the tabletop, Vash Tor the Archfane doesn't really translate. They had to FAQ so that he interacted with his own detachment. Some of his abilities are quite cute, like forcing your shooting to have hazardous. But there's often things you look at it and go, well, actually, I'd just take a Warpsmith. He's probably better for the role of sit next to vehicles buffing them. And it's just not the big bad I was expecting. I expected him to be like the Silent King, being this like nasty thing, or up there with the Primarchs. But instead, he's just there. And it's a shame.
Where is he again?
Cool. So bad you didn't even get a picture. There we go.
Who was it?
We'll run him on the models nice.
Oh, this guy.
Store, yeah.
So Lee Churchwood ran him.
Yeah,
purely out of love.
He tried,
and he was irredeemably trash. Apparently,
yeah. I beat him up with some bully boys with that, and it was hard work because it was a lot of points that he could have spent on anything else, and it was a shame.
He looks like he should be amazing, right?
Yeah.
Well. I owe another one because Aaron has correctly pointed out in the chat that Slotty Barb or whatever the hell it was isn't actually an effort hero. My bad. Feels like he is.
Oh, Tom forgetting his own rules halfway through I can't believe it.
Yeah, I've never done that. I've never done that at all.
He's not really there for his vehicle buffing, and he's just a winged demon prince almost. And that's not where they positioned him in the lore, and that's a shame. Yeah.
No, it's really, really bad.
Yeah, I lost a lot of respect for Vash Tor at the weekend because my last game against the Creations of Bile had him, and a Skyridge kind of looked at him and blew him off the table. So
you're bad. Bam.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's not the one. Barry likes it. as a stat stick. He's just a better winged prince, apparently. I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it. I wonder on... I think it's probably finding the right detachment to put him in.
Not his own.
But it's definitely not his own. Yeah, completely agree.
Oh, dear.
Alrighty, taking it around to you, Jack, for your pick.
So this pick is... So one thing that really disappoints me about the Necrons, and ultimately why I decided to not choose them as an army, is because there's a really massive disconnect between the lore that's written for them and the gameplay. And that really annoys me. And there's no bigger disappointment for me than Trazyn the Infinite. Good lord. How can such a cool character be such a pile of shit on the table? That's not Trazyn the Infinite. That's Imhotep the Storm.
Oh no! This has all gone really wrong.
Tom, are you being Necron racist again?
No.
Look, Google was Necron racist, not me.
Ironically,
is that him?
Actually
that's a really old avatar.
Is that Traz in there?
No, vote.
Trazyn
collected one of them probably.
Trazyn is old and blue and resiny.
So I did see a Trazyn model, but then for whatever reason I went with that one because I thought that looks newer and better. So why is Trazyn rubbish?
Well, for starters, he looks terrible. His model is atrocious, and he's all resin. So his rules, right, is he gives sticky objectives to a unit that he joins, which is Immortals, Lich Guard, or Warriors.
Yeah.
Which is not really a rule a Necron needs, but whatever. He also gives you the ability to kill one of your own characters and then teleport him across the board.
Yes.
Which...
Who wouldn't want that? So you mean he can swap places with the Silent King?
Yeah, so you could... Well, no, he can't, because...
Oh, no.
You basically pick another infantry character on the board that's not a Scorpec Lord and not an epic hero. So there's a very small number of characters you can do that with. And then you can destroy them and then replace them with him in your command phase.
I see.
Which I just feel like you never want to just kill your own characters for the sake of it.
It's very rare that anyone wants to kill their own characters.
So yeah, that's just terrible. And considering how cool he is in the lore, it's just such a disappointment to see how bad he is in the game. He's also his empathic obliterator is again one of the coolest described weapons in 40k. Yeah, it's like 4 attacks that hit a 2+, 7/0 D3 with sustained hits D3. Like,
yeah, that's not really doing it, is it?
Who fucking cares? Like, he's just absolutely terrible.
Barry in chat says it means you can join him to wraiths for the meme.
You sure can. You can do it in command phase, and you can make it so they can sticky an objective.
And now I'm over here. Yeah.
Cool. I'd rather have the Fear No Pain.
Absolutely. We've got a follow-up question from Bonsai Kitty Gaming. Would you run Shrike with a 10-man or a 2x5 JPI? 5 with Shrike, 5 for scoring. I mean, you can run it with Vanvets, right? I think.
Yeah. I probably would still run him with the JPIs. I would do a 10 of JPIs for him and then 2 5s for scoring because I'm a madman.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Because he does a lot of damage in his own right? Especially once you've got mortal wounds and other things factored in, that's going to do it. Yeah,
exactly. But you just have like a bigger threat that's being protected by the lone operative and the uppy downy. You have a really big pressure piece then.
Yeah,
but it's probably not optimal, and I'm not a marine player, so I just think he's really cool, and that's the thing that I would do.
I just think he's neat.
Yeah.
It's the right way to pick characters sometimes.
So just to confirm, that's not Trazyn. That's a different Necron.
No,
that's Stormlord's old model.
Oh, if I've really shut the bed there.
Hang on, Tom.
The Necron community are going to write me a really strongly worded letter after that.
There you go, Tom.
Oh, there he is.
I was trying to do it in the background, but then you shut me off.
Yeah, that's because I thought it was malfunctioning, and I just wanted it to end. Right, okay, so he looks like that. Yeah, I did see that one there.
He was on one of those 25mm based resin ones, very Finecast ones they released in like
to be a metal guy back in the day.
So if you put him next to real Trazyn, look, it's just
real Trazyn.
It's just nothing.
They've both like got an enfeebled man. That's
they've both got a stick. They've both got a skirt. They've both got a coloured chest piece.
That's every single Necron named character.
They've both got a funny cape.
Still every Necron character.
You said he's a Despotec, or is he a Chronomancer? At least he's not a Psychomancer because he's got legs.
Oh man, yeah. Lovely to see you, Trazyn. Anyway, that's been fun. I think that now takes it through to Alex for his worst pick.
Yeah, we all got really excited when they said they were releasing this guy as a model. We'd all played the game and used Lieutenant Titus.
Oh no!
Who
let's find you
struggles to kill 2 or 3 gaunts now in the game. Like he's just a poor model, isn't he? Like he's just a basic intercessor. He's a basic guy with a chainsaw and a bolt pistol. There was no options on his data sheet for any of the cool stuff that you could gain in game.
That's a shame.
And he's got a sustained hits chainsaw.
I wonder what the actual stat line of the Titus you are capable of being in Space Marine 2 would be in 40k. I mean, he kills entire armies of bugs every mission, pretty much.
He wouldn't be Slime Marbo, though, would he?
No, he's no Slime Marbo. There's no Trazin.
It's just that speed of the Primarch Blood Angel Captain, isn't it? That's all you wanted from him.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe you proxy him as that in your Ultra Blood Angels or whatever you're playing now, because reality has lost all its meaning. Yeah, fair enough. We'll take that away. I think we had a question in chat. Oh, we had a super chat from the lovely Aaron Wilson saying, please explain why Captain Tycho is the absolute worst epic hero, and that's why Games Workshop put him in the bin. Now, Chris isn't on to defend himself, but that's exactly the kind of shot we're into taking these days. So we're going to do it. We're going to get into Tycho the Lost. He is on that book.
That's how old he is.
He's a character Chris cares far too much about, who has now been sent to Legends, and it's largely because I think hadn't he already died in the lore?
He'd already become lost to the Black Rage, so they
yeah,
had 2 profiles and 2 models for him, all of which are ancient, and the timeline's been moved on another few hundred years since he last died.
Yeah, ridiculous.
1995.
Wow. It was time for him to go, basically. And I'm sad they took Gabriel Seth as well. I'm not sad they took Tycho because Chris has been a lot quieter about him since then.
Although the model can be built as him, and then you just use him as a cool captain instead. Paint gold.
I will say that Tycho the Lost, one of his rules is actually one of the cooler.
Okay, go on.
So he has Death Vision of Sanguinia. So if he's destroyed by a melee attack, after the unit is finished making its attack, you can roll a dice, adding 2 if it's the Warlord. On a 2 or 3, the enemy unit takes 3 mortal wounds. On a 4 or 5, they take D3 plus 3 mortal wounds. On a 6 or more, they take D6 plus 3 mortal wounds.
That is pretty funny.
Which is really funny.
Yeah, so he's taking you with him sometimes. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but he is really expensive, and his damage profile was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Chris will get over his loss eventually. Barry in the chat says he's not a Mancer at all. He's an Overlord, and now I'm just hearing he's not a Mancer. He's a very naughty boy. That's all I've got in my head.
He
and
keeps stealing stuff.
I know he's like Feathers Raw from Wallace and Gromit. He's just the Necron version of that. Look, Wallace and Gromit is the new Wallace and Gromit. Oh, it's very good. I enjoyed that Christmas.
No, bet.
It's very, very good. Gordon Chung says, what? No Cypher anywhere. Yeah, Cypher probably would have been a good include. He is very good, but he's no hero on Blackheart, right? Cypher's only in every list, but you could have redeployed your Obliterators. So, come on. What are we doing? Huron's much better.
Yeah, he's no Scrivener, whatever, Boyle Pox
Scrivener.
That's not.
Take that back.
Not even an epic hero.
Yeah.
He's a demon that can actually read and
That's
write.
a real miss on my part. But I don't always get these things right, you know. Yeah. And then my other one, and if someone tells me they're not an epic hero, I'm going to be upset.
They are.
Inquisitor Greyfax.
You're wrong.
Am I wrong?
No, she's great.
She's just a hero, but I don't know about how epic.
No, she is epic.
Yeah.
She is a named character. So
she's a named character, and I really like the model. I did look up the rules. The actual rules are very piddly. It's just
always have been.
You can get anti-psyker 4+ on your assigned agents unit.
Don't even know what she does. You just type in Warhammer epic hero.
It's a woman must hate.
No, as I'd read it and I was deeply underwhelmed. You can get giving some navy breaches anti-psyker isn't going to save them, and then +1 to the hit if they're below half strength in a unit where every little unit just gets mulched as soon as it fights. And then nothing from her really in terms of weapons. She's got a 1-shot castigation crossbow thing like the sisters have. It just doesn't do it for me.
She's interesting in the sense that she can be joined to any battle line unit, I believe, from any of the units that you can ally to. So you think that's really cool, and you're like, aha, what's her ability going to be really good on? Like as some unit you can attach her to that's going to be really. It's nothing.
That's it. That's the fundamental issue. Is that there's nothing good coming out of that combination. So it's just one of those. Like,
what you can do. So the only combination I found that was interesting with it is you can join her to Grey Knights, like Terminators or Strike Squads, and then use the stratagem for Dev Wounds, and then you can kill Magnus with her. That was something interesting you could do.
That would do it.
Yeah, so that's cool. She's also voiced by Catherine Tate in the audiobook.
Oh, is she? That's cool.
Yeah.
Which audiobook is she in?
It's I can't remember the name of the audio drama now, but I don't remember.
One set they'd released all at the same time, was it? Or
I'll see if I can find
David
it.
Tennant, her, and the other woman that was with David Tennant, a lot of Doctor Who. They all did voice acting in about 3 or 4 different books.
Okay.
It's Our Martyred Lady.
Cool. Okay, very nice. One guy in the chat says that Greyfax is my daughter's first model. Don't model what the rules are so say. Yeah, that's very much how I feel. And I think sometimes my frustration is if the model looks like it should be awesome and then it's kind of meh. That's when I get more grumpy, really. Tenera says, if only there was a unit you wanted to join that didn't already just re-roll hits versus the Oath target. Have we got another round of these to go? Or does that take us through? I think
I've got a spare if you want one.
John has a spare. I think. Yeah. What's your spare?
So, when they released the Incar and Yvrain, they were led. They kind of had with them another model, which I have only ever seen on the tabletop. Apart from when I used him in 7th edition, the Vizark. The only time I've ever seen him on the tabletop is as an Archon. He's so bad.
It's
a different
true.
armor uses the model.
Yeah,
I don't even know what his rules do in this edition, but I can
feel like he might give fights first.
Fight first or Harlequin unit, but
fights first on a Harlequin blob, so you can make that mega blob with him and Yvrain, but he doesn't get taken.
But would you?
Not
the reality is you don't, right? It's
no.
cute.
I've seen it done.
Yeah.
He should be leading.
It does happen.
Incubi.
Yeah.
Or something like that. He should be with a cool melee.
Give me fights first Incubi. That seems good.
That seems perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, that sounds
just as fast to guns with or without.
Yeah, that is true. They're still getting shelled to death by 9 mortars from behind a wall these days. Yeah, you deserve this. The age-old battle between people who hide behind walls and people who don't want them to do that. Yeah, it never ends. All right, guys, that is our run through some of our best and worst epic heroes. If we've missed any, if we've stepped completely wide of the mark, other than me obviously picking a not epic hero for one of the choices,
that's embarrassing.
It was a busy weekend. We've had a lot on. I'm not going to sleep on it too much. We've got some segments to go now. The first is self-promotion. There's not a ton of self-promotion to do other than to say thank you very much for liking and subscribing. Thank you for leaving comments. Thank you, as Bonsai has done, for signing up as a YouTube member and leaving us a little super chat as well. All of that helps fund the channel. We're trying to go very big this year. You'll have noticed we're putting out an absolute ton of content. That is very much the plan. We're going to keep this rolling. Got all sorts of things in the pipeline. And every member signed up helps us to keep that momentum and keep building and planning new things. So do keep that all coming. And obviously on our Facebook, if you follow us on there, and you should, we've still got some tickets going for our first ever GT, which is that 6+++++ GT up in Barnsley, March 15th/16th. So get a ticket of that and come play. It's on WTC terrain. We're really very excited. And next up, we have some promo for the old King of the Ping League. So our TTS League in the Discord has just finished. We have a big congratulations to John Hottertronic, who won the league this time. Very well played, John Hottertronic. Absolutely smashed everyone before you. I'll give an honourable mention to the lovely Josh Cowlett, who was also taking some names in that Discord as well when he wasn't playing in the England one. And essentially, it's going to be King of the Ping Spring. King of the Ping Spring has sprung, is what Davies called it. And essentially, it's going to work thus. There are going to be 32 playing places. So you want to get signed up quick because these do fill out. They are going to be in 8 pods. Then they are going to play through their pods, go into quarterfinals, more quarterfinals, according to Davies' graphic that he sent me, and a final. I suspect those will be semi-finals when it comes down to it. So as stressed, there are 32 places up for grabs. If you want to come and play in the next iteration, and obviously a whole ton of the team will be playing, I myself, many others will be getting involved. You want to sign up and join us. You can play whatever army you like. It's going to be on WTC terrain, so because we're warming up for our GT in March. If you'd like to compete, please do sign up as a 6++ member on YouTube. Once you've done that, you link your YouTube to our Discord. Then you post your name in the sign up section of the King of the Ping channel. If you are trying to do that and you need help, drop one of us a message on Discord or Facebook and we will assist you. But essentially, sign up as a member, get it all linked up on Discord, and then you can join in the festivities and come and play in the next league. Will it be as wildly Death Guard heavy as last time? I don't know. I'm curious to see. Haven't decided what I'll take yet. Maybe Tau? I'm feeling Tau.
I'm taking Death Guard.
I think... Okay, John's taking Death Guard. I might try Tau.
Right.
That was on my list last time. And essentially, list submission and entry sort of cut-off is the 31st of January, so you have 2 weeks. But places are first come, first served, so do get involved. Thank you to everyone who took part in the last one. Come play in the new one. Can't wait to see what everyone brings. Good night, Bonsai Kitty Gaming. Thanks very much for your support. Wonderful. Okay, that, I think, will do for self-promotion today. Obviously, a brief reminder, we've got Ed Watts coming in for coaching with us now, as soon as he's back from winning LVO. Jack has some self-promotion. Jack, is that a self-promotion?
We have stream on Thursday.
Shit! Yes, it is. We're playing on Thursday. Very good. There's just too much going on. Jack, what's happening on Thursday on the stream? Take us through it.
Well, this Thursday, you and I will be playing, and we'll be joined by Lewis. He's going to be doing some commentating for us. And in addition, as well, we're going to be playing Grey Knights versus Demons.
Yes, Zinch Demons using the new detachment.
Yes, so that's going to be very fun. And I would like to take this opportunity to make a small announcement. The week after that, so after this Thursday, we've got confirmation that Mr. David Gaylord will be joining us for a Dave off.
Yes, a Dave off.
Yes, that's right. We're playing our very own Davy Little's Tyranids with new Astra Militarum.
Oh, fantastic.
And we're going to have a good time there. So if you guys want to see any new guard stuff or how Tyranids do into the new Astra Militarum, then by all means, drop by and we can 100%. Hang out.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be a fun chat. Do come and get involved. Those have been really fun to do. So very excited for that. And well remembered, Jack, because that's just very, very good. So going to rattle through our last few segments, do some podcast questions and call it a night. As far as our segments go, we have, first up, I fought the law and the law won. And I've got one little tidbit for you today, which is about Eldrad Ulthran. Eldrad, as you will know, is an elderly Farseer for Craftworld Ulthway who are always doing battle against the forces of chaos. But one of my favourite bits of Eldrad lore is that Games Workshop did actually kill him off in a White Dwarf many years ago. He went into a Blackstone fortress and had his soul eaten, I think. I don't remember the exact circumstances, but it went really tits up for Eldrad, to put it politely. And ultimately, Eldrad's such a beloved character that they just retconned it and brought him back. So I think it doesn't even feature in any of the current lore about it. They killed Eldrad off and then they've resurrected him. He doesn't get a lot of use in 10th edition, but he is one of the best Eldar models out there, in my personal opinion. Next up, we have Just the Tip, which is a bit of tactical advice for you. And this was lifted straight out of Trading 101, which is a video series I've been running. So if you haven't watched those, go and check it out. But this is just a popular conception in 10th, which is anti-trading. And this is especially relevant in a world of Guilliman's and Custodes Dreadnoughts and Abominants. There's a lot of anti-trade pieces about at the moment. And Fuegan, I suppose, was one of the first and most infamous. This is your 2-up, get back up again unit. The idea with these is that they break the rules of, I put my unit here, you send a thing, you kill it, then you take the point, right? If there's still the unit gets back up again, it flips the kind of resource loss scenario and makes it much harder for your opponent to get up on resources. And it also often, for one phase armies or armies dependent on one phase to do damage, is a real nightmare because you can't just shoot something off a point or charge something off a point. You need to actually commit twice as many resources in order to actually dunk this thing by killing it in 2 phases. So there's a lot of it about right now. And if you have access to a get back up again when it dies type unit or character, I highly recommend putting at least one in the list and experimenting with the kind of opportunities that can create for you in game. Alrighty, that's just the tip. We are now going to move along to listener questions. If you'd like to chuck us our 3rd super chat of the night, you'd be very welcome to. We'd love to hear from you. But we're going to fish some questions out of the Discord in the meantime. And we will go from there. So in the podcast questions we have. Andy asks, do we think a Marine meta is incoming? And if so, how do we tech to counter it? What do you guys reckon?
I think we're definitely in one, aren't we? Marines are always going to be common. They've had lots of buffs, but they died just as fast as they ever have.
Yeah. Stuff that shoots toughness 4, 3-up save. Be right.
Good AP, multi-damage weaponry in reasonable quantity. Rips right through them.
I sort of feel like, I don't know what you think, Jack. I feel like Marines have kind of been in the meta the whole time, this edition, without... They've never been so dominant as to completely define it, as we've seen in previous editions, but they've been here the whole time. I guess maybe now they're going to be a bit stronger again.
I mean, I don't really consider the different Codex Marine, like non-Codex Marines, to be not Space Marines. So yes, for me, they've always been a part of the meta. They've always been good in some way. The damage 3 good, a plasma gun good. It's if you can get like mass AP 2, it's probably sufficient to get through Marine boss. It's got something around the range of like 522 or better is probably sufficient to deal with most Space Marine units. Like because I think a lot of Space Marines right now is guys on foot. It's not a lot of Terminators generally, but it's a lot of guys on foot. So we're looking at like Inner Circle Companions, Stern Guard, Infiltrators, maybe Desolation Marines, and there's like some transports here and there, but they're not super heavy on vehicles at the moment, unless it's an Ironstorm. I think you're basically looking at what kind of plasma gun or plasma gun equivalents can you take. That's probably the safest bet. I think the biggest issue you have dealing with Marines at the moment, and one of the things that's going to make them quite good, I think, is the fact that we're currently in a meta where you have to deal with vehicles, massive hordes, and also Space Marines.
Yeah,
it's
wild.
Which makes it really difficult to tech for the Space Marines specifically. So I think that's just going to make it really difficult to. I think that's going to like inflate their win rate basically.
Yeah.
Because you can't just specifically tech for them. So.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. Moving it along to our next one, we had a question from 10, who asks, what makes a character feel worth taking? Is it sheer power, unique abilities, cool lore? What do you think, John?
For me, it brings something that a non-named version of their sort of thing brings. So, like, a chapter master should do something that a captain can't just do equally for you, or something your army doesn't have access to. Like when I mentioned SNICRO, the fact that it gave your army a thing that without him you just can't do it. Like, apart from maybe a weird boy, kind of is sort of close, but even then it's not a lone op, so it doesn't really kind of fulfill the same role. So to me, that's normally what I look for, is that it does that, but also I look and go, that's a cool character that I want to take as well. So that kind of balance to me.
Yeah, for sure. So I do think feel and flavour does matter. It's kind of like what Jack was saying with Creed. It's like I'll forgive a weaker character if they hit a sort of point of certain kind of cheapness and having a role. I guess I really like sort of proper janky, tricksy characters like Urian Rakoth's been my favourite character to use in recent months. He's just such an obnoxious little piece, does all sorts of different jobs in a game. But you do want them to sort of feel like you imagine, I think. And with the Epic Heroes, it's probably been the best edition that I've played for the big Epic Heroes, right? The great big centerpiece models. I feel like they've all had a very strong edition, perhaps to the point of being, auto-including a lot of armies, and that might not necessarily be the best for everybody.
Ones as well, where previously haven't played a while, it's either the named characters were incredibly powerful or forgettable.
Yeah.
At the moment, we've got a nice mix where you don't feel bad for taking any of them realistically.
Yeah, completely. And it does become what tools you want. No, so I think they've been very lovingly attended to this time. Not the ones that have been thrown into the bin forever, but the rest have certainly been well treated. We have a very biased question from Imperial Agents Lover Sai, who asks, why are assassins epic heroes when they don't have names? He just wants to take 12 assassins in the Veiled Blade detachment.
Why are they epic heroes? Because you can't have it. I mean, like, I don't know if you've ever read any books with assassins in them, but they're all fucking insane. Like,
yeah,
they probably kill each other before they kill whoever
they are loopy. They are very loopy. They're not team players really.
You see one take on Cypher and a Shield Captain in the Cypher novel, and none of them come out of it very well. Let's just put it that way. It's just they are epic heroes. You may not think that they don't need a name. That's why they're epic, right?
Because they're epic.
Faceless killers.
Ah, very good, very good. Ultimate Funk asks, who is the least epic hero in the game? Spoilpox script then.
Well, I mean, he's not epic, so you're absolutely correct. He is the least epic hero in the game.
Let's bring it back.
Lysander.
Lysander? I hardly know a
set of rules.
There's got to be.
You can lead Terminators. There you go.
There has to be a more pathetic character.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I read. I had Lysander in mind for this, and then I read his rules. Like, no, you're pretty chunky.
It's got to be something that's like really sad, you know, like Brother Captain Stern, or
Stern's a good shout because what does Stern even do?
He gets up on a 2-up, I believe, and then
why are they taking Stern then? That's awesome.
I think every time he does.
Matakero's got a good one actually. Lazarus is a chapter company master, and he's good at anti-psychic stuff. But
do you remember how strong he was when you thought he just gave everyone around him a 5-up field of pain, John? He was pretty strong there.
Was doing that. I almost won a tournament with that.
6+ game. He says Stern gets back up. He's a true hero.
Oh gosh.
So maybe Stern. Yeah, I could definitely, having just talked of anti-trading, I think maybe get him in the list.
He also has
for 65 points into any Imperium army who gets back up on a 2-up.
See, because I also thought I was going to have Morgan Ra for this, but then I read his rules, and in true Eldar datasheet form, I was like, this is actually really good. Like, I think
everyone else is just better, right? That's the problem, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They're spoiled.
There's a lot of options. There are a lot of really good options. Right,
wait, one more.
Yeah.
Lord Marshal Dreer. He's not epic because he's shit and he just got a new model.
Okay, who is that? Is that the Krieg guy?
Krieg Horseman.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so what's his deal?
He gets up on a 2+.
Yes! More of the same.
But he riders dev wounds on the charge, but
yeah. He also gets up on with D3 wounds rather than full wounds. And he can only join Death Riders, and he gives them death wounds, which is just a couple of strength 4 damage 1 attacks. He's like a gajillion points. He's just not good.
So he's one of those where it's like he gets back up, but should he? Why? What's he really going to bring?
Nothing makes
spades.
Yeah.
Nothing makes a character less epic than when they're described as being very cool and their entire concept is very cool and then their rules are just awful. Like that, to me, that is just the biggest letdown, and I feel like the epic heroes that are a letdown are just unforgivable to me.
Solitaire so I don't think the Solitaire is an epic hero, but it is a letdown.
Yeah.
Every time. Right, okay. We have one question. Oh, no, we don't, because Christopher Richardson's just piped up. What's everyone's vote for who should be the best, most fun based on lore? Or if you could give a fix to a data sheet to help them live up to expectations, what would you change? So are there any characters where you know how you'd fix them? You know how you'd make them work?
Farsight could definitely stand to be cooler.
Just more attacks? Would that help?
just make it so he gives his unit +1 to wound. Not +1 to wound within 9, because that's just...
Does it not work on his sword?
It does.
Oh, it does. Okay.
It works on close combat attacks.
Okay.
Unit, like, sure. I just... like, he's just like...
He's got a sword.
Yeah. It's half an attempt.
Chaos sword, it's fine.
It's more like a Necron sword. It's like half of a good... Like, it's half of a good idea for a character.
Yeah.
Which,
that's fair.
Like, he's okay in combat, but his unit still isn't. He doesn't really do anything to help them because they're still on 5s. Yeah. But like, if he just gave his unit +1 to wound, he'd just be infinite. Or even if it's +1 wound within 12, I just want to be a deep strike and use his ability. That's all I want. I'm really not asking a lot.
That's totally fair. We got one more from Gordy the Goo who asks, "What army do you reckon Arteta / Guardiola / Slot / Tuchel would run?"
I think Guardiola, Arteta would be an Eldar, wouldn't they? They're a bit ticky tacky.
Yeah, and there's the whole mystique around it, like it's supposed to be really finessey and clever, but actually it just gets all the best stuff. Yeah. And then
Slot, Death Guard, slow, ponderous, but
yeah, that's
absolutely fair. Steamrolls you when it makes it.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. I don't know enough about Tuchel's footballing identity. Alex, can you help us out here?
He's a bit of nothing. I don't really know either. He just at Chelsea he didn't do anything except loom.
So Votan.
and the Germans love him. It's perfect. Yeah. It's perfect. Oh, nice. And on that, perhaps a bit obscure note, thank you, Gordy. We will bring this to an end. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Please do come and watch me and Jack throw Grey Knights into demons on the Thursday stream. We're very much looking forward to that. Don't you worry about it, Chris Richardson. Thank you for supporting us. Thanks all for tuning in. We'll see you again very, very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.